Hello and welcome to Randoms. We are back again with Amabishop. It's episode 9. We are catching it while it's on the run.
Nearing.
Obviously, it's one of those. The channel is new for you, and we hope that we are going to give the insight that you are looking for. Maybe we are thinking alike. So the question is, what do you do when churches have become what you are running away from? Outside. You run
Help.
into a church. You want to get something out of that. You are put in a situation where you cannot refuse what they give you, because one, they shift you away from the people that love you. They tell you how bad those people are, and then you believe them and you move with them because you believe in God. So everything else shall follow you.
Yeah.
So and then you realize, man, along the way that no, man, this is not what I signed up for. By the time you realize that, it's already late,
Late.
and you are far away from home. This is the story of Universal Church. And that is the story of a
Members.
church that is the biggest church in Johannesburg, CBD, where there are about, I don't know how many churches. I've seen 3 so far. And they are given a space by our government, by our people, in areas where our people are really hungry, like close to CBD. They are in CBD, most of them, both of them that I've seen, and then there's
Yes.
one that side of Bree. Now the question is, what do we do as people to actually protect ourselves? This conversation might spark hate because there are people who are really members and diehard members, but this we are getting it from Amabishop,
Amabishop.
ourselves. We are not investigators, but it's a question that now we have to now echo as we have seen it. Emily, take us through this whole journey. As we go through this journey, we are going to unpack where we need to unpack.
Now I'm gonna start off with September Marumo. He's a senior pastor, was a senior pastor at the Universal Church. He says he started attending it in 1994 at Free State. It was a vibrant church then, according to him. You know, back in the day, we didn't have the organs. You know, our traditional churches is the clapping of hands, is the, you know, it's the drum.
Yeah.
The drum is as far as we would go. So you can imagine Universal ingena manje ngama ketling, 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 ketling. It was a vibrant church, that's what he says. So he says he started off as an usher, then he was selected to come to Joburg and be an auxiliary pastor. From then on, after completing their classes, they were distributed to different parts of Southern Africa. Some were sent to Zimbabwe, but he was sent to Pretoria.
Yeah.
From Pretoria, he was moved to Dobsonville. From Dobsonville, he was taken to eThekwini.
Yeah, it's strategy number 1 that you have to look at from this church. The first strategy is to move people away from where they can get support. You take them away from where they have power.
Isolation.
And then you unarm them. They are unarmed now. So by you doing that, you know for sure that they will get to do what you say it must be done. And you take them at a tender age. I mean, the pastor was
Just finished
finishing,
matric.
1994 was his last year of grade 12.
So he must have been 18.
Yeah, and then
17.
moving along from that and then staying away from your parents. You ask me if I've done that, but likely it was through me going to varsity. It's a story that you cannot tell without being with your parents as a kid. If there's no support where you're going, there's no support structure like schools and all that, you are going to people who are adults, people who are living by their decisions. They are guided by their decisions. And they have taken you away. And obviously your parents cannot say anything because at that age, it's about time where you can actually take your decisions. And by law, you are allowed to do that.
Yeah, yeah. So he said that they would boost his self-esteem, and the teachings that he was hearing were aligning more with God. So in KZN is where he says he worked with Bishop Marcelo Crivella and Bishop David Bota. Then he went to Pinetown. Says when he got married, when he got married, that's when he started noticing the strange things in the church.
Okay.
Very strange tendencies. He said, when you meet a girl, in African, how we do things, you must introduce your girlfriend to your family, you must pay lobola, it's a process.
It's a process, yes.
He says that none of that is happening at Universal. They even go as far as pick a girlfriend for you in the church. So he says there's no dowry. And then he was asking, in the Bible, is there dowry? Bishop Maponga answered and said, yes, there is dowry.
There was. There's always been. Yes, there's always been.
So he says that at the time that he started dating in the church, he had to ask for permission from the pastor once he's seen a girl that he likes. Can I date this girl? And the pastor, depending on whether they like the girl or not, the senior pastor, whether they like the girl or not, then they give you permission or they don't give you permission to date that woman.
It's crazy because you look at it and you try to make sense of it. It kind of makes sense. One, you choose a woman that is going to align with the church rules as they might put them. And you try to marry these people because they share some common minds.
Yes.
They are not going to rebel against the church. So you the matching, according to what I'm seeing, it was done through such criteria where it must be that the woman you are marrying is a woman who's in line with the church rules, not Christian rules, because by virtue of being a Christian, then you should be you should be good to marry anyone.
Yes.
So, but because you need to align with someone who's in power, it's like it's the same strategy that you see in most countries and maybe some even this country at some point. Where a president is given a first lady, and as a first lady must be chosen according to certain rules, because maybe that first lady is not aligning with the agenda and everything that is put in. Then that person has to go. It will have that person will have to be painted with the bad negative things that are happening around that person, and then you see that person as a bad person, also you leave.
So he says that there you cannot answer back. He could not answer back. They told him that a servant has no rights. So already these people are calling you a servant.
Yes. And that word, it's not the first time you're hearing it. You have read about it in history.
In the Bible.
And also in the Bible. And it was not only used exclusively in the Bible. It was used olden days. There are words that I cannot say here on this platform because we are limited.
Yes.
But a servant word is a word that has been used many years and used for people who it was portraying inferiority. Do you understand? So it surprises me that you still want to stay with people like that and have and call them pure men of God or call them good pastors.
Good pastors. And the most interesting thing that he also narrated is the fact that around some time when he felt he was ready to get married, he went with this lady. They sent them to Pretoria, to Joburg. He said Joburg, from KZN, to get married at Home Affairs. And then when he got there, found out that this lady is 18, 19, underage.
Again, tender age.
Official of the wedding said, go and get your parents. You need a guardian to sign you off to get married because you're too young.
Yeah.
And the church picked some random person off the street and they said, sign here.
What we used to do when we have wronged teachers at school, This is a story that is similar to what we used to do, where we would just fetch anyone and buy them something or a cigarette, and then they would come to school and shout. I think I stopped that thing when one man decided to shout at me as if he was my father, and then I realized, but I'm paying you, my man, you can't be doing that thing. So I started, but it is one way of isolating your people. Remember, family has your interest at heart. Now,
Yes.
if I'm going to take you away from your family and support you fighting against your family, it's a sign that I want to isolate you, and it is used by many people. Even when you have a husband like that, it's a red sign that you should look at, and in fact you should run away from people like that, because good people will always advise you to go to your family. If you have a problem with your family, you must reconcile with your family and have a good relationship with them, not throw them away.
Yeah.
There's no bin for a person. You can't throw a person away.
Now, weddings at Universal allegedly are very funky. Okay, Kutiwa, they would in the sermon of the wedding they would tell you not to have kids.
And it's not the first
they
time
would
I'm hearing this, right?
Discourage you having children. It's not allowed. And then they would even go as far as encourage you to terminate your fertility.
Yeah, for men actually, it's very sad, because the
For
pastor,
both men and women.
the pastor that was in this Amabishop, it was very, it was a sad story, because I feel that he wants kids now, and he can never have those kids. The chances of fixing whatever that was done are very slim.
Over.
And in a manner that it was done, it doesn't seem like the way in which that doctor was explaining, where they block, not cut, because cutting,
Oh, to him it was, oh no. Oh no.
it's very disturbing, Emily, to even digest this story. But if someone can do that to you, and then that person, regardless of whatever they've done to our society, they are still given prominent spaces where they must be seen and must be advertised. Even televisions are advertising them. What does it say about the so-called leaders of our country? What is it portraying our country as? And I've heard that which country is it,
Angola.
Angola, where the church was
It's
closed.
taken over by
They stripped
Angola
off
people.
these Brazilians, and then Angolians took over the church,
Yes.
which means that whatever they do now, it's benefiting the economy of the country.
Yes.
Well, not in South Africa. Not in South Africa. In South Africa, they are still treated as these good visitors, not even visitors, permanent citizens.
Look at what they're doing to our people.
It's very sad. It's very sad. I heard Maponga also questioning that the manner in which they say money laundering is happening, but they are still given platform.
Moving with trucks.
They are still given platform. What more can they do?
Yeah, I used to see that Bishop Dontons with a glass of water every
What is
morning
the
at
what's
5
the name of
a.m.
that guy? Bishop? What?
Bishop Marcelo
Yeah, I went to that church. I couldn't feel anything.
with a glass of water every morning at 5 o'clock on ETV. Is he still there?
I think so. If it's
Please remove him, please.
remove him where? Because they should just remove this whole Brazilian cabal.
Especially
which is-
considering the fact that they've been given a chance by the CRL to come and present their counter
That's how South
arguments
Africa
against
treats
them.
you.
But they are given a platform to rebut and they haven't taken it. So what does that mean?
That's what I'm trying to say. They are still going to operate. Believe in me. You know how South Africa is.
So another disturbing thing about the church and the pastors that were in the church September, Marumo says he was getting 1,000 rands. They were exploited, and he said it was very wicked when he saw one of the Brazilian pastors wearing a Rolex, and he asked himself, how does this man afford this watch? If we are all getting paid the same thing, and I'm getting 1,000 rand and something.
You cannot question, because right, you are a servant. How do you question that? How do you go on into questioning that? You can't, because they've silenced you. They've created this small mind in you, and you'll always stay in that area until you move yourself. Once they if they can cut your fertility and all that, and what more can you question?
Oh my God. And then Jason Mukwena, who was an assistant pastor, said he used to labor for the church. He was a keyboard player. He was a voiceover artist for the radio and the TV adverts. He used to sing in the choir. He said he was never a pastor, but all of these things that he's doing, he should have been paid.
He left school.
He left school. He was
left
studying.
School. He was advised to stop studying
because God wanted God wanted to use him and to serve his people in the ministry.
You see the danger.
He was getting 900 rands a month.
The danger that Africans are at is that when people come with Christianity, or when people introduces Christianity in a manner in which they know, they tell them to leave everything that is African and live in a manner that suits them. This is how you disarm anyone. Because with an African mentality, it becomes so difficult for you to actually come and practice such things to people. But with that mentality of being submissive, you are easily taken for a fool. And this is what is happening. The English people came. There was Dutch. Now it's Brazilian mixed with Portuguese.
Well, baby given Chetwa said that her and her husband refused. She was a part of the pastor leadership in the church, and her husband refused to terminate his fertility. And she got pregnant.
Yeah, and was treated.
That's how she woke up. They did not treat her well at all. They isolated her. Some people were giving her gifts undercover, afraid to be punished should they be seen showing her care. And then the husband was like, this is enough. He left, and they told baby given Teta to leave the premises while she was still pregnant.
Within 3 months.
Within 3 months.
It's the same thing. I don't know how we can actually enlighten people, but there is a pattern of how you possess power, how you take power.
The first is isolation.
The first is isolation.
When someone or somebody or some people want to take you away from your loved ones, convince you that your loved ones are not good, beware.
The second one is you put someone somewhere where they fully depend on you. And
yes.
Even blessers use that.
Yes.
To slay queens.
Yes.
It's how you take power from people. You make sure that you give them this nice life that they cannot sustain alone. And then by so doing, you know for sure that they will always call for your help. So you are in power, you are in position. That is why I'm not in agreement as a person who studied towards that direction. I'm not in agreement with grants, because grants create that mentality of dependence. And then when they create that mentality, the only thing now, like there are people who go to vote so that they can get paid 350. those are the things that we need to look at as a society. It doesn't only, we are not only talking about the issue of churches. We are talking about the issue of churches, blessers, everyone else who's looking to take advantage of you. They use that state of making sure that you are not fully independent. You are dependent on them. So they will always come for favors and you will do them however they want you to do them. So the question is, in a situation like that, should I come to you and tell you, go back home? I'm not going to give you money, I'm just going to give you money to go back home. You will refuse because you are used to this life of Amabishop. And you want to remain in that area because you think that there are more opportunities. You might become that Rolex pastor.
Yes.
Same as if I was to say, vote for someone else who's not going to give grants. You would refuse. Because you are used to this life that everything you get
I'm gonna
fed.
get a
You can't do it on your own.
True.
It's the same strategy. The same strategy that is being used even today, even beyond what we call freedom.
Well, it's amazing that they were able to pay for this procedure to terminate fertility because it's very expensive. However, they pulled it off. They bribed doctors. They would pay them money and it would be a quiet thing.
That is what I'm trying to say. They do blessers give these kids money to keep?
No.
They give them enough to buy gooses and
To spend.
to live that life. And while they give you, they tell you, I love a woman who wears like 1, 2, 3, and they know you don't have that. You need to go buy it.
September Marumo says that it is so bad that one of the female pastors, when their dog died, because the female pastors associate the pets. They have pets, they have dogs and cats that they keep, and they treat them so lovely and dear like they are kids. When one of her dogs passed on, she wore black and moaned.
This is a sign that there is no Christianity in that church. It's a sign of power, and in that manner, a dog is always going to be better than you. And this is not. That's why you cannot be in a state of liberated mind yet you fall into things like that because it's the same thing. It's people who do not recognize you as a person and you still go to them and associate with them.
Ish. That's what's killing us.
That woman who's going viral about potty party, potty liar. It's people who disregard her. They don't see her as a human being, but she's with them.
For the dollar. Well, Jonathan Zulu was a junior pastor in Nagotis. He started at the age of 15 from Park Station. This is where that many of those branches are at. And I don't understand why they are in the CBD when it's so expensive to have property over there. I don't get it. Yes, I don't get it. But then again, he says he used to work day and night. His family wanted nothing to do with the church, so they isolated him, and he had to live in the church and depend on the church on a full-time incident. So he says he had an accident and broke his knee while he was working for the church, and that's when he saw that these people really don't care about us. That's when they gave him a taste that they really don't care. Another man carried him over his back to the hospital, and he went to a public hospital and was given medication. And then when he comes back, they say that he must be fired because he's now useless. He can't work.
Egypt. It's the same strategy in Egypt where you had to work as hard as you can. That's it.
He also left his education.
Because education is seeking to kind of empower you in a certain way. I'm not in favor of it fully, but in this case, when you compare education and church, in this case, education is empowering you to think independently.
Yes.
So they don't want that. They would advise you against that.
And then he says that they said that he needed to be punished even afterwards. There was also a time where they went and didn't have food for like 2 to 3 months. They used to go around the streets of Johannesburg begging people for food.
Well, it baffles me how these people continue to be persistent. I think also it's the manner in which the Bible is actually written. It's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, that's a
Because
conversation
it
for
is
another
written
day.
in that manner that people had to starve, had to suffer,
suffer.
and then that now is being used by certain people who have seen this loophole, and they are using it to their advantage to actually enforce you to follow that route.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, well, Emily, I don't know, man. That from my side, I don't want us to be that long.
Yeah.
Um,
Guys, let's ask God ourselves. Let guard our heart. Let's protect ourselves, man. Let's pray. Let's go to the scriptures ourselves and stop this thing of depending on people to teach us and guide us. That thing is no more.
and maybe a question that we should then deal with one day is: should we remove ourselves from our past, from our culture, because that is one way of disarming a person.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
From me, that is it, guys. And then Emily, yeah, that's it.
I hope you enjoyed this review and please like the video.
Yeah, we are new.